Okay. And we are back with the second featured match of the evening. Um, we're looking at Chad's very sexily painted red Decimator and tie complement versus Kurt's triple X wings and a Z95. That decimate there as they're putting out asteroids and getting the game started. I'm gonna give you another quick list rundown. We have Commander Ken Kirk with Ruthlessness. Ruthlessness allows you to automatically deal 1 damage to another ship at range 1 of the defender, but you must deal this damage. So if the only ship at range 1 of the defender is an ally, you have to deal it to the ally too. Um, this damage is unfortunately for for that extra ship unblockable. He also has another way to deal unblockable damage. We have Darth Vader, whose card text says, after you perform an attack against an enemy ship, you may suffer 2 damage to cause that ship to suffer 1 critical damage. So after the Decimator performs an attack, it can automatically deal an extra damage to a ship at range 1 of the defender, and then the Decimator can take 2 damage itself to pop another automatic damage on the defender from the attack. It also has a Zanazard, gives him a free evade at the start of the combat phase, and Rebel Captive, the first ship that attacks it, receives a stress token. And a hull upgrade, just to make that 12 hull last even longer. We also have Dark Curse. One of my favorite TIE Fighter pilots. When defending, ships attacking, you cannot spend focus tokens or reroll attack dice. This makes Dark Curse very tanky for a ship with only 3 hull. Next to you, 2 Academy pilots. What's up, yo?
What's going on?
Kurt's list on the left here, we have Wedge Antilles with R2-D2 and Predator. R2-D2 lets him recover his shield after moving it, taking a green maneuver, and Predator allows him to reroll 1 attack die. We also have Hobby Clivian. When you acquire or spend a target lock, you may remove 1 stress token from your ship. And R3A2, same droid from last game, allows you to take a stress to deal a stress on on the target of your attack. Tarn Myzen at Pilot Skill 3. When an enemy ship declares you as the target of an attack, you may acquire a target lock on that ship, along with R7 Astromech, which allows him to, once per turn, spin that target lock to force the attacker to reroll all of his attack dice. And then just for good measure, we have a Bandit Squadron pilot bringing up the rear at Pilot Skill 2. Looks like the Bandit and Tarn are down on the table at the bottom. 2 TIE Fighters at the top next to the Decimator. And out comes Dark Curse, I believe. He has initiative. So, wait. I'm not seeing something. Peek it.
Peek out there and see if there's an X-Wing at the bottom I can't see.
Looks like it.
I think there is.
It's the Z actually in the bottom corner.
Okay. We're gonna fix this.
We're gonna fix this going forward after this match, but we just discovered we can't see the top and the bottom of the screen. The Z95 is down at the bottom of the screen out of frame, unfortunately. Yes, Chad is on the right side. You're talking about his painting. He takes paint commissions. He has a very sexually painted Decimator that I'll get him to show up close on the screen after the match is over. Looks like dials are going down and we're getting ready for the first turn. In the meantime, I'm going to update that so it reflects the current score. And I'll get you a little description of the players we have here.
They put me down for the early game next week. It's not
The 18th. Every other week, so like 2 weeks from now. Yeah. First maneuvers are coming out. The X-Wing formation took a nice leisurely one forward. The TIE Fighters and the Decimator are staggering their maneuvers. TIE Fighters at the top. The two Academy pilots took a 5 forward, I believe. The Decimator a 2, and Dark Curse also a 2 down in the middle of the screen there. TIE Fighters are taking a 3 forward and focusing up. Not a whole lot going on quite yet. Does anybody have any questions, etc.? Hey, there's the Tabletop General. What's up? The Tabletop General was James, the player who lost our first featured match. Yeah, I see you're still talking about Chad's painting. It's pretty. Chad's painting is legitimately awesome. And it looks like the Rebel formation is also just gonna yet again take a nice leisurely one straight ahead. Don't want to be too aggressive. Dark Curse reveals a 2-turn and splits the asteroids. Looks like he's going to be the first one to engage the X-Wings. Probably next turn, I'm guessing. And then the Decimator, taking its time, takes a 1 forward, passes by a rock to its port side. That's the left, down lower on the screen. And Wedge takes a 1 forward and looks like dials again. Nobody has a shot. He just measured range from the frontmost X-Wing. Thank you very much if you just tuned in. We here at FCB will begin streaming much more often. The next league night stream will be on February the 18th. However, we have a tournament this Saturday, the first of our quarterly competitive series here at the store for 2015. Coverage will start on that at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and will last much of the day. Probably looking at 3 rounds and then a final table, depending on turnout. It might be 3 rounds and a cut to top 4. Dials are going down for the next turn. Looks like we might see some dice rolling pretty soon here. Lambot, I'm going to have him come have a chat after the game and bring in his Decimator to show off. It's pretty great. Actually, no, you're probably right. It'd be better to put it on the big screen. The interview camera is not ideal. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. We can't see every ship down at the bottom of the screen here. There is a Z95 just off that is currently invisible. I'm going to see if I can do something about that temporarily, but we'll definitely get that fixed for the next stream, if not this evening. So give me 1 minute to go take care of that. Honestly, I'd rather just almost leave it where it is, because I'm going to mess up the camera. And Dark Curse is taking a 2-turn to the left. He's going to turn and run. like TIE fighters should do, because all they do is die, and that's what they're for. Let's see where the Decimator's going. He's going to take one bank. I don't think that's going to put him into range yet, so we're just going to see a lot of range 3 shots on this TIE fighter. Oh, barely in range of that X-Wing at the top. And the Commander Ken Kirk will take a target lock. There we go. I just had the players scoot the table a little higher. I also found out the topmost X-wing in the formation is Hobby Clivian. Just below him is Tarn Misen, and then Wedge Antilles, and then a Z95. Okay, Decimator at Pilot Skill 6 is taking a shot from range 3 at Hobby Clivian. Hobby Clivian sustains 1 shield damage. Hobby measures his attack. I believe they decided he was out of range. So Tarn Misen will now be attacking, I believe. Oh no, Hobby is going to take a stress to deal a stress. So Hobby is in fact within range 3. 3 dice from Hobby, and that is 3 blanks. He will spend his target lock to re-roll the dice, which, because of Hobby's card ability, will also remove that stress that he just dealt with R3A2. But because of Dark Curse, he's not allowed to re-roll those dice. He just simply spent the target lock to clear the stress. Okay, Tarn Misen is going to perform a range 3 attack. Looks like 2 hits. 2 evades, and Dark Curse is yet again unscathed. Z95 is going to take a 2-shot attack from range 3. Spins a focus to... Oh, he can't spin the focus because of Dark Curse's card. So that is 3 shots from X-Wings against Dark Curse at long range. No damage. The only ship to be damaged that turn is Hobby Clivian, the X-Wing at the top. He sustained 1 shield damage. Is everybody having a good time? I'm been quiet for 2 or 3 minutes on the chat. If you have any questions, you're not sure, not terribly clear what's going on, I'd be happy to fill you in. Any opinions about the game in general? If you think we need a new commentator, I'll be terribly offended, and I'll go cry in the corner. However I can make it more enjoyable for you guys. That's why we're here. Ruthlessness did trigger Rick 956. Give me a moment, and because you can kind of see there's a glare. That's another technical issue that we're going to have to hammer out before our tournament this weekend. But there is a it looks like on top on Wedge he stripped a shield off. If you see the card at the top of the screen there. Thank you very much, Wire 011. Lambot 9000. Commander Ken Kirk has Ruthlessness on the Decimator. Academy pilots are turning in, maybe to make long-range volleys here. Z95 takes a 4 straight down to the bottom of the screen and a focus action. And thank you for asking that, Rick956. If anybody else sees that I've made a mistake or can't tell exactly what's happening, I'd be happy to fill you in or find out if it's something that I can't see for myself. Every Rebel ship but Wedge takes a 4 forward. Wedge, of course, has to wait because of his high pilot skill. Dark Curse takes a 2 turn to the left around that asteroid. Remains stressed, unfortunately. Commander Kinkirk takes a 1 bank. Looks like he might have a range 3 shot on Hobby through an asteroid. That means Hobby's going to be able to roll 4 defense dice if and when that happens. I also realize that I'm watching the stream behind. There we go. And then Wedge is going to take his 4 straight. Question there from the players regarding Dark Curse's card. I'm sure they worked it out without issue. Their laser looks like 3 out of the 4 Rebel ships are going to have a shot at Dark Curse. First shot from Wedge. 2 hits and 1 damage card, so that's going to be 1 evade. Commander Kinkirk, range 3. At pilot skill 6 against Hobby Clivian. He might not have a shot. No, they're taking it, so I guess they decided that he does in fact have a shot. That's 2 hits after target lock. And how many evades do I see here? Looks like he's going to focus to evade all the damage. Hobby Clivian is going to take a range 2 attack against Dark Curse. He's going to receive a stress to deal a stress via R3A2. And Tarnmeisen took a range 3 attack and whiffed, I believe. Wire 011, yes, I believe it does. I don't have that on my printout, so give me a few seconds and I will verify that. Maybe someone can hop in and with the answer. Checking on the ever handy X-Wing companion app. No, the attack must hit for Ruthlessness to trigger and to deal another damage to a ship at range 1. Wire 011. Ruthlessness, your attack must hit for Ruthlessness to trigger. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. It looks like maybe Chad was trying to bait. No, you can. Looks like Chad might have been trying to bait those Rebel ships away to attack Dark Curse, and he's pretty tanky, so he might last through a couple more attacks. While the Decimator and other ships possibly come up behind. Looks like the that Academy pilot is going to land on the Decimator, or it's going to be very close if not. That is a bump, so it's going to go back slightly along the template. Lambot 9000, that would be cute, wouldn't it? I'm going to run it that way once just to see if it's dumb, because it's probably dumb. And then a 5 straight from the other TIE fighter, who does not bump, I believe. So he will take a focus action. And it looks like the Rebels are going to K-turn this round. That's a 3K from the Z95, who will immediately receive a stress token. And presumably a 4K from the X-Wings. Yep, the Tarmaizen is taking a 4K. Followed quickly, I would assume, by Hobby Clivian at the top of the screen. Hobby is taking a 2-turn. It looks like he might be on that asteroid. Hobby is, in fact, on that asteroid. He's going to lose an action, and he keeps the stress token that he had before, and he has to roll an attack die to see if he sustains damage. Looks like Hobby did, in fact, take a damage from that asteroid, which puts Hobby at no shields. The Decimator is going to, yet again, inch forward a 1 straight. Wire 011, that would be harsh, but it'd also be very expensive. And in turn, you're still... Darth Vader is damaging your own ship, so it'd be a high cost in a lot of ways, but it would almost definitely be too good, which is probably why Ruthlessness doesn't work that way. Ken Kirk is going to take a focus action. Looks like Dark Curse is trying to get away, so he will take a 5 straight, keep both of those stress, but he's not going to be taking any more fire from these X-Wings anytime soon. Uh-oh. Let's see if Wedge fits. Wedge performed a K-turn and did not fit. With he would have landed overlapping the Z95. Causing Wedge to remain facing the same direction and to receive a stress token. That's going to hurt. He just landed with his biggest heavy hitter facing the wrong way. We'll see how that works out for Kurt. Looks like the Decimator is going to take a range 2 obstructed shot at Hobby. He will spend a focus token to make it 3 hits. That is 3 eyeballs and a blank from Hobby. So that's 1, 2, and a crit. There was a critical damage too there, and Hobby is out. That's Hobby Clivian off the table. He was worth 27 points. Let me come in and update the scoreboard here. So that's going to be 73 points remaining on Kurt's squad. I'm sorry, it actually looks like... it actually looks like 2 hits got through, and then the Deader used Darth Vader to pop a critical damage onto Hobby and take him off the table, which took 2 shields off of that Decimator. Definitely an interesting situation coming up here. The Decimator, I would guess, is going to turn away, but Wedge is unfortunately facing the wrong way, so he won't get to perform an attack. We'll see how the Rebel player corrects this. That's Kurt. He does very well here. He just missed making the cut at a local store championship. At FCB, he did make the top 8. TIE fighters move forward and move back into formation with one another. Kurt's Z95, Bandit Squadron pilot, takes a 2 straight, clearing that stress. Looks like Tarn Meisen is going to take a 1 bank to his right and a focus action. We'll see where Darkhurst is going. He's gonna take a 2 straight and clear one of those stress. And you're right, Lambot. Those TIE fighters may very well have at least the TIE fighter in the front have a shot this turn. I was right with my prediction. Excuse me. The Decimator turns away. Looks like Kurt is going to have 1 shot on the Decimator, and the Decimator is going to be able to shoot at that Z95. So he measures to acquire a target lock and does. Last ship to move is going to be Wedge, who takes a 2-turn, remains stressed. I'd like to point out Wedge took a damage early from Ruthlessness. Hobby Clivian was the target of the attack, and then Wedge took 1 unavoidable damage from that. He does have R2-D2, but he has yet to take a green maneuver to repair that damage. Decimator attacks the Bandit Squadron, spins a target lock for 2 hits. Looks like that is looks like 2 of 8. Well done on Kurt. On Kurt's part, that Z95 takes no damage. Hobby Clivian is taking a range 3 at a TIE fighter. Two hits. Look, I didn't see any evades. How did that and that is a range 3 attack. 1 hit on the Decimator, 1 hit, 1 blank. The Decimator rolled a focus action, therefore could not avoid that damage. TIE Fighter focuses for 2 hits on Hobby Clivian. On Tarn Meisen. He rolls a bunch of blanks and is not able to evade the attack even after using R3A7 to force the rerolls. The TIE fighters did in fact make it to the attack, and they put 2 damage onto an X-wing. Anybody watching the stream has any questions, comments, things that I'm doing poorly, things that I miss? If you'd like anything clarified, please speak up. I'm streaming from FCB Comics and Games here in Alpharetta, Georgia. We had a lot of success streaming our store championship on January 10th, so we want to make this a regular thing. We have another tournament this Saturday. The streaming coverage will begin shortly after 11 a.m. and last most of the day. You're probably looking at 3 to 4 featured matches and cut to top 4, which puts the final sometime in the early evening. Full day of X-Wing. It should be a lot of fun. We will also begin regularly streaming our league nights every 2 weeks. The next stream will be on February 18th. TIE fighters take a 3-4. Actually, the one TIE fighter took a 3 forward. The other one took a 2 bank, likely hoping to spread some marks out and get Wedge Antilles into arc to chip some damage off of him at range. Little friendly chatter between players here. Z95 will take a 2-turn and will remain stressed. That'll give him a nice range 1 shot on that TIE fighter. Ton Misen is going to take a 1 bank, getting nicely up close and personal with that TIE fighter in the front. And he will target lock the Academy pilot at his own range 1. Dark Hearse is still running away. If I was in the room with Shad, I'd be making fun of him. Dark Hearse has been facing away for 3 or 4 turns now. Not that that's necessarily a bad strategy. We all just like to mac on Shad. Decimator takes a 2-turn to shy away from that table edge and will take a focus action. Wedge will yet again remain stressed and take a 2-turn, pointing him directly at an asteroid, but also at a TIE fighter, either inside range 1 or just at range 2. By the way, I must say that red Decimator looks very, very nice against the red on the table of this this X-Wing playing field. In fact, Shad painted both of those. He painted that custom Decimator. He also painted the tabletop that you are currently seeing. He was just checking arc to see if that far TIE fighter was obstructed. I think they determined it is, so he's going to take the closer shot against the TIE fighter directly in front of him. Warwolf CDL, you might be right. I think Shad's thinking here is he wants to get some damage onto those X-Wings before they ever really get a chance to take on the Decimator. Because if that Decimator is the last ship on the table and you are down a ship or have taken some damage, it can be very hard to clear it off. I'm not sure that's what Shad's thinking, but that would be my guess. Generally, as a player, I go for the fat ship first. And try to find ways to, and when I'm playing the fat ship, I try to find ways to make them not shoot at the fat ship first. Some attacks coming off here. That was range 1 onto Tarn Misen, forced a reroll. That's going to be 1 hit. And looked like 2 eyeballs from Tarn. Yep, that's correct. So one hull damage goes on to Tarn Misen. And now it looks like TIE Fighter, range 2, obstructed against Wedge Antilles. Wedge sustains 1 shield. Wedge sustains 1 shield damage. And dials are going out again. Curious to see where these X-Wings are going to go. We have 2 X-Wings facing the same direction, and Z95 that is stressed, pointing at a TIE fighter 90 degrees to these 2 X-Wings. Point to the on the outside, this X-Wing furthest to the right is Wedge Antilles, who's had a stress for quite a while. And he's pointing directly at an asteroid that I don't think he can avoid, considering the dial of the X-Wing. If he had a one turn, he could avoid that rock with a little issue, but the X-Wing does not. It only has one banks. Twisted Leo, that was I'm not sure Chad can believe that either. That was a big deal, and Kurt took the bait, and he wasted a bunch of early shots, and then Dark Curse GTFO'd when he needed to, and we may or may not see Dark Curse make another attack this game. You're getting echo. Okay, that might be a mic level issue. Let me see if I can correct that a little bit. Okay. I just adjusted my microphone level. Let me know if that corrected the problem. Whiplash 205, I apologize for that. I'm glad to have you on the stream, though. That's the first time you've commented, I believe, and I appreciate it. First Academy pilot to activate takes a 2-hard turn to his right. Takes an evade token. Let me see. I'm seeing the echo in the level, but I'm trying to fix it. Give me one more moment. It might be a connection issue. Tarmisen is performing a 3-bank maneuver. They're checking to see if he will clear. It looks like he will. So Tarmisen is going to just barely get out of there. Or just barely clear that TIE fighter. I'm thinking Kurt probably wanted to land on the TIE fighter. So then he wouldn't take that unreturned shot in the back. Then again, Tarmisen is very tanky and can almost definitely avoid some damage from the two-die attack of a TIE fighter. Sunday. Unfortunately, I don't know what the monster truck announcer sounds like. I'm a hermit. I don't really watch sports. I got what I needed from the Super Bowl on Monday morning when I saw the movie trailers. By the way, how about that Jurassic World trailer? I'm about that movie, yo. Decimator takes on a rebel swarm, and that is a 1-bank from the master himself, Wedge Antilles, who will lose his action and take a damage. Wedge Antilles is now out of shield, but he did grab a range 1 attack on that TIE fighter. So actually, that's not right. Wedge can't attack this turn. No, yes he can. I don't know what I'm saying. He didn't land on the rock. Yeah, but he's taking a range 1 attack on the TIE fighter. Looks like 2 hits. And evade gets 1 evade and spends an evade token to avoid damage. Okay, it's going to be the Decimator against Tarmisen at range 3. Tarmisen acquires a target lock on the Decimator. I think Kurt's deciding whether to make Chad re-roll those attack dice. And he will, I believe. Force a re-roll, and that is a complete whiff from the Decimator against Tarmisen. Z95 rolls 3 hits against the TIE Fighter right in front of him. TIE Fighter rolls 1 evade, spins an evade token, and sustains 1 hull damage. TIE Fighter's turn. TIE Fighter makes a range 1 attack, rolls 2 hits. I'm guessing it's against the Bandit Squadron pilot, because he didn't acquire the target lock. Other TIE Fighter looks like range 2 against Tarmazan. Both attacks were against Tarmazan. I apologize. Tarmazan sustains 1 damage from the first attack, sustains another damage, and Tarmazan is out for the count. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the FCB live stream of Star Wars X-Wing League play. This is our second featured match of the evening, featuring Kurt and his XXXZ, aka State of the Union, versus Chad with his Commander Kinkirk with Ruthlessness and TIE Fighter Complement. Looks like the one of the Academy pilots is going to take a 3K, and the other Academy pilot also performs a 3K turn. Both receive a stress. Looks like one might be going to block Wedge Antilles. We'll see how that turns out. But first, it should be Dark Curse and the Decimator, Commander Kinkirk, that will be activating. Bandit Squadron pilot performs a 3 choreograph turn to about face and turn and face a TIE Fighter looks like range 3. Whiplash 205, that's what I was thinking. He threw Dark Curse out there early as bait, and then Dark Curse turned and ran, and the Rebels took the bait and chased him until it didn't make sense to chase him anymore. Decimator performs a 2 bank to get just a little bit closer to those Rebels. It's a little friendly interaction there. Kurt helping Chad line up the Decimator in the guides on his base. And he will acquire a target lock on the Bandit Squadron pilot. Wedge performs a green 1 bank. He will bump into that TIE Fighter. He's denied his action, but he should recover a shield because of R2-D2. That is correct. Wedge Antilles recovers a shield. First attack is going to be range 3 on the TIE Fighter furthest to the left at the bottom of the screen from Wedge Antilles. Two hits from Wedge, and look like maybe 2 evades from the TIE Fighter. Warwolf, CDL, sometimes TIE Fighters pop, but they're worth a lot more than it seems sometimes for those 12 points. Decimator rolls 3 blanks, spins the target lock to re-roll his attack against the Bandit Squadron pilot. Looks like the Bandit's going to take two hits versus 2 evades. TIE Fighter is making a range 2 obstructed attack against the back of the Bandit Squadron pilot. Attack is again evaded. Now the Bandit Squadron pilot is going to take a range 3 range 2, excuse me, against the TIE Fighter. 2 hits versus 3 blanks, and that TIE Fighter is out. That's going to be the first ship taken down on Shad's squad. That makes the score 48 to 88. There we go. The scoreboard at the top of the screen should reflect that now. And I believe it's time for dials. Yep, there's the Decimator dial down. Warwolf CDL, sometimes you gotta give up the pawn so the queen can win the game, you know what I mean? That's why, as they say, the pawns go first. Yeah, I'm trying to be all poetic and like don't encourage me. Don't apologize to Chad. Never apologize to Chad. Academy Pilot takes a 3 straight. That will clear his stress, putting him at range 1 of Wedge Antilles, likely trying to block the Rebel Ace. And that's 2 straight from the Bandit Squadron Pilot. That TIE Fighter took an evade action, by the way. The Bandit Squadron Pilot will clear its stress and will take a focus action. He is parked at range 1 of that TIE Fighter. Dark Curse is going to make a 3 bank. He'll eventually get back in the fight here. I know what I would do here, but before I say that, I'm going to see what Shad does. Whiplash 205, the Decimator is at 100%. Actually, I lied to you. The Decimator has not taken an attack yet. No ship has attacked it, but it did sacrifice 2 shields to activate Darth Vader. So it is at 12 hull and 2 shields. So the Decimator has not yet been damaged by the Rebels, but it has taken 2 shield damage from activating Darth Vader. The Decimator target locks Bandit Squadron Pilot. Wedge Antilles performs a green maneuver, again bumping into the Academy Pilot, but that will allow him to recover a shield. Checking arc to see, he lost his action, but he's checking arc to see if he has a shot on the Decimator. Looks like he does not. Rick 956, I was curious about that, and you just explained it to me. Thank you very much. Looks like 2 hits from the Decimator against the Z95. And the Z95 will focus and evade the attack. That is a... around here we have a phrase, Hero Bandit, coined by Brendan, the victor of the previous featured match. That bandit is soaking damage like none other. Looks like 2 damage on the from the bandit onto that TIE Fighter, and soaked by the TIE Fighter using 1 evade and an evade token. Warwolf CDL, I was thinking that too, but I feel like he was probably just trying to avoid blocking the Decimator, which would have denied the Decimator in action and likely left him in arc of Wedge. So he the Decimator may or may not have been blocked, but I'm thinking that was Chad's thought when he didn't barrel roll Dark Horse. By the way, I will have a quick interview with each of these players, so if any of you has a question at any point during the match you'd like to field to the player himself, feel free to throw it up on the stream and I'll try to remember to ask. Had a very nice interview with James a.k.a. the Tabletop General, about his first match earlier today, and Brendan, the victor of our first featured match. Z95 takes a 3K. Looks like Dark Curse is going to make a 3-turn to his right and just barely miss that asteroid. Taking a focus action, that's going to give him a shot for the first time in several turns. And the Decimator is going to take a 1 bank away from the fight. Pretty typical move there. You don't need to face the enemy with that turret, and if the enemy is going to get a shot now, it's going to be a range 3. He's going to get an extra defense. Just a pretty good all-around idea there. Wedge is going to take a K-turn and receive a stress token, likely hoping to pop that TIE fighter before it can return fire. That's going to be a range 3 attack from Wes against an Academy pilot. Wedge rerolled 2 dice because of Predator. Got 1 hit and evaded by the TIE fighter. Twisted Leo, that's a good point too. If he barrel rolled, Wedge might have had arc there. That's a 2-shot, 2 hits on the Z95 from that TIE fighter, and then unreturned by evade, so that Z95 will sustain 2 damage. I think they're trying to determine if that is an obstructed shot or not. I believe it is. Looks like 1 hit versus 3 evades. So Wedge easily evades that shot from the Decimator. Bandit Squadron pilot can't shoot that TIE fighter that's close to him, so he's going to take a range 2 at the furthest one, at Dark Curse. That's a hit and a crit. And looks like Dark Curse evaded the shot. Academy pilot takes a range 1 shot on Bandit Squadron pilot, and that the shot misses, and that is the end of the turn. We're not keeping time here, but if anyone cares, we're approaching 54 minutes here. I mean, I'm keeping track of the time, but we're not going to cut them off if they get to an hour or 75 minutes or what have you. Wire 011, that's a good point. So it may or may not matter later on. With those 2 dice, you might deal damage out at range 3. You never know. Academy pilot takes a 5 straight, likely trying to block Wedge, who will do a 1 or a 2, likely do a 1 or a 2 speed maneuver here. We'll see how that turns out. Notably, that TIE fighter kept his stress to get that close to Wedge. Z95 takes a 2 straight, clearing stress, putting him at range 1 of that Academy pilot. Of Dark Curse. And Dark Curse will perform a 2 straight maneuver, which will run him directly into the Bandit Squadron pilot. Decimator taking a 2 bank, trying not to get too far away from the action. And his action will be measures for a target lock and will take a target lock on the Bandit Squadron pilot at range 3. Wedge Antilles. Can't see the maneuver, but he removed the stress. It's going to be a 2 straight maneuver. He just might barely. Oh no, he doesn't fit. So he's going to land on top of that TIE fighter. Chad's doing a really good job here with his action denial on Wedge. Looks like Wedge is going to take a range 2 unobstructed shot on Dark Curse. Dark Curse's agility will be reduced here, but Wedge can't. Looks like 1 hit and no evades from Dark Curse, so one hull goes through onto the TIE fighter. Lambot, was Chad's idea. It wasn't even Kurt's that named the list. Looks like 2 hits from a TIE fighter against Wedge. No. What happened here? I think they accidentally skipped King Kurt's attack. Oh no, he just didn't spin his target out there. Dials are going down. Kurt looks like he's going to, he didn't like his first choice, so he's going to change his dial there on the Z95. TIE Fighter will perform a 2 bank. That's an Academy pilot. He's going to clear his stress and will take an evade action. Next up is Bandit Squadron pilot. Looks like he's going to take a 2 bank maneuver. Rick 956, that's a very, very good point. If the attack had dealt damage, which would have killed that Z95, I believe, it would have also destroyed Dark Curse, which is a big consideration there. However, with that Z95 only having 1 hull remaining, he could have used Darth Vader. He would take 2 shields on the Decimator, but he'd have 1 less ship to deal with right now. So that's interesting that he didn't choose to just pop that Z95 with Darth Vader. That's really the most common use of him. Is you don't use it every turn. You use it when it helps. And Wedge will take a 1 straight and yet again bump into the TIE Fighter in front of him. Looks like Wedge has a range 3 obstructed shot on the Decimator. The Decimator is going to get 1 die, plus 1 from, no, 2 dice, excuse me, plus 1 from range, plus 1 from the rock, minus 1 from Wedge's ability. Wedge rolls 1 hit, rerolls a die with Predator, makes it 2. Decimator will focus to avoid 1 damage. Focuses to avoid 2, excuse me. And the Decimator is going to take an unobstructed range 2 attack against that Z95. Spins target lock to reroll an eyeball, gets nothing. That's 2 hits on the Z95. And looks like that Z is out. Only Wedge Antilles remaining on the table for the Rebel player. Little list update here, or little status update here. Dark Curse, the TIE fighter furthest to the left on the screen, has one hull remaining. The Decimator, Commander Kinkirk, furthest to the right, has 2 shield down. That's 12 hull and 2 shield remaining. Wedge Antilles took some damage early on, but has been able to recover that. He's back up to full. And then the last Academy pilot down there at the bottom of the screen, you can't see because it has a maneuver dial on top of it, I believe has sustained 1 damage and has 2 hull remaining. Academy pilot activates first, performs a 1 turn, and takes a focus action. Dark Curse activates second, performs a 2 straight. A little accident there, and a little small correction. Dark Curse will perform an evade action. The Decimator will take a 3 straight ahead. The as yet fastest maneuver the Decimator has performed this match. And a focus action from the Decimator. Now Wedge Antilles is going to take a 1 forward. Looks like for the first turn for several turns he will not be blocked. And the first turn for many, many more turns he will be able to take an action. So Wedge takes a focus action and will likely be taking a range 1 shot on either the TIE Fighter or the Decimator. 4 dice from Wedge. He rerolls 1. That makes it, looks like 3 hits and a crit. 2 shield off the Decimator, one more shield, and a crit. That crit is a direct hit that drops the Decimator down from 14 total hit points to 9 total hit points remaining. That is 9 hull remaining on the Decimator. Decimator will return fire on Wedge. Will focus to make it a hit and 2 crits, I believe. That is 2 shields. So the 1 evade from Wedge. Oh, I'm sorry. It was. I was right. A hit and 2 crits. No evades from Wedge, and a critical damage on Wedge. That is another direct hit on Wedge, leaving Wedge the only ship on Kurt's side at 1 HP remaining. I'm curious, since Wedge is only at 1 damage left, and only has 1 hull left, I'm curious as to why Chad didn't just activate Darth Vader and pop Wedge and end the game. But we're going to keep watching. He chose not to do that, and I certainly can't say it to him. Rick 956, I was just thinking that he could have popped Darth Vader, taken 2 more damage on the Decimator, and ended the match by causing critical damage on Wedge. He chose not to do so. So we're gonna keep playing here for a minute. It might be a sportsmanship thing where we like to play here. We're very social. Chad might not think that he has a big chance of losing. It's awfully close to the edge, and that is a Decimator out because he flew off the table. I bet he's wishing he popped that Darth Vader now. Let me look here. That Decimator costs 60 points. That is 6-0. That puts Kurt in the lead. That is a big deal. Just the corner of that Decimator fell off the table. That puts Kurt in territory to potentially clean up a couple of TIE fighters here. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed something. Looks like Wedge got Dark Curse. So that is going to be. I must have missed that, and I apologize. That is Wedge versus a TIE fighter. Wire 011, he did not use it to cause the extra crit on Wedge. He rolled 2 hits and a crit, and Wedge did not return with any evades. The reason that Wedge took and the reason that I know it was not besides just seeing the dice, but he didn't remove any shield from the TIE. He didn't remove any shield from the Decimator. But it was. I'm sorry, I missed that Ruthlessness got Dark Curse. But we are now 36 points to 12. We have a. I'm going to verify health on that TIE fighter. I believe it has 1 damage. Twisted Leo, are you sure? Because he didn't take any shield off the Decimator at the time. He took 4 damage plus a direct hit. And Wedge just cleared the last TIE fighter. You guys are asking, and I obviously missed something because I went out there to check the crit. So I will verify how the match ended, and I'll get Chad in here to commentate. I will get Chad in here for an interview. But it looks like Wedge won the game for Kurt. That game turned around really quick. I'm going to get our players in here. In about 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna get Chad in here with an interview in about 30 seconds. Whoa, it looks like most of the X-Wing crowd is cleared out. But I'll be right back with Chad in just a moment. Here we have, let me get the camera here, Chad. You can kind of see, or you're probably just tall enough that you can see your face anyway.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So Chad, just start off. Tell us about your list and what your strategy was going into the match before we get to how it ended.
Yeah, so did you already go over what I have?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So the idea usually is the 2 academies. I like to set them up on one side, and I try to bait my opponent into going to that side. If he doesn't go to that side, then I put the Decimator on the other side. So Flying King Kirk, for a while, I realized that You want them to kind of stay at range 3, and that's kind of the big thing, or at least just try to have them not get shot as much as possible, which I did, and then I made a stupid mistake at the very end, and I thought I could clear with the bank, and should have just done a hard turn. But I was worried about hitting wedge. That was the big thing. So yeah, I don't know.
You didn't have the match won, but you were the score was 36 to 48. You were doing, or like,
Yes.
or 36
It was a
to
lot.
a lot. You were doing really good.
I had
And
it.
you popped Darth Vader on wedge and did a ruthless and cleared Dark Curse.
Yeah.
And then it happened. So,
So generally, I run Predator on the big guy, but I was like, well, if Rebel Swarm's going to start making a comeback, as people have talked to me about, then I'm going to basically I'm going to put Ruthlessness back on there, and that turned out to be the wrong call. So what was the reason for?
You did get a ship with ruthlessness.
I did, yeah.
You cleared Dark Curse there at the end, and then you did that 2 bang when you could have one hit left on wedge.
Yeah, I actually thought, so you guys saw the handshake, well, semi-handshake. I thought actually Wedge was dead, and then he was like, no, he's got one more hole left, and I was like, oh, okay. If he had died right then, I would have been perfectly fine and got it through, but as it was, that didn't happen. So
we have a viewer question here. What was the reason for the 2 academies taking so long to get in the game there at the start?
All right, so like I said at the beginning, right, the academies there, or they're just there for either blocking or cleanup, and I was trying to bait him into going to that side, and he set up on the opposite side, so that was fine. Now, generally speaking, I like to get the academies. So if he sets up on the same side as the academies, I like to turn the academies in and just have them fly across my board edge. If not, I'll zoom them forward and just get them as a flanker, because generally they'll just pick off 1 or 2 points at the very end after things have died. Or, it's like, say I had got one of those X-Wings down to 1 hit point, they come in with 2 dice and they might be able to finish it off or whatever. So I usually don't like them to get shot. Some people are very aggressive with the ties. I mean, I'm more aggressive with Dark Curse, and to be honest, I was a little bit worried about all the shots coming out of the X-Wings, just blowing them up, because Wedge can easily kill 1 TIE turn if he really wants to.
Dark Curse is pretty tanky as far as TIE fighters go, and you got Dark Curse in there and baited the X-Wings in that way, and then you ran away with Dark Curse.
Yeah, so in the very beginning, I pulled Dark Curse to the side, and I went around that rock there, thinking that he was going to cut in with cut in with a swarm at one point, and he didn't, and then that kind of worried me, so I had to go around the rock and just try to circle back while the Decimator blinked off a couple points. That was all I was trying to do, and then I was kind of trying to figure out what he was going to do after he got past that rock in the bottom, because I had no idea. Like, I figured he was going to K-turn at some point, but I didn't know what he was doing, and that happened. So then pretty much the whole game was spent kind of in that corner, just trying to block him and take some pot shots off. But
and then 60 points flew off.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. I don't know what to do about that situation. But
any thoughts? Something you might change in your list, or something specifically you see X-Wings on the other side? What are you gonna do next time?
So these were X-Wings that I had never really fought against. He had like Hobby, Tarn. Yeah, so let's see. Hobby, I've never faced against him, so I was like, I had no idea what he did. And his astromech on him was just like forcing me to reroll stuff, which worked like really.
That's on Tarn. Hobby had the stressing astromech.
Oh, yeah.
He gets a target lock, and then he can spin the target lock to make you reroll.
Right, yeah. So that worked out once really well for him, and then it didn't work for once. But that guy, like, I've never played against him. I've also never played against Hobby. So those 2 ships, I was kind of like, I had no idea really what to deal with him. But he kind of played pretty much, as most Rebel players played, Little Swarm. But it was different. He didn't have anyone to strip my tokens, anything like that. Wedge with Predator was pretty much his biggest asset in that whole game. Yeah.
And you left Wedge on the table till last.
So, yeah. It was mostly just because Wedge was out of range. I was hoping to just ruthlessness him to death.
You did, for quite a few turns, you denied actions on Wedge. He was stressed out for a while, and then you blocked it like 5 or 6 turns in a row.
Yeah. So, denying actions on Wedge, and he has Predator as kind of a, a hit and miss. Like, it doesn't really seem to do a whole lot, but it does at the same time. So.
I mean, against academies, you can reroll too.
Right, that's a big deal. So.
Any final thoughts before I get you cracking here, so we can make fun of you?
Yeah, congratulations to him. That sounded really bad. No, he flew really well. He was having some really rough dice in the beginning. Lots of blanks coming up, but it kind of turned around for him a little bit in the end. And that's a mistake I won't make again. So, anyways, all right, thanks guys. See you guys later.
Kurt is on his way in. He'll be here in 10 or 15 seconds. What's up, Internet? You probably don't want to look at my ugly face. What's up, Kurt? First, tell me about your list. We've gone down.
Hello.
When you build a list and when you see a Decimator on the other side.
So this list traditionally has paired up really, really well against Decimators. Hasn't been doing great lately, but with the meta in this area, the Decimators, and especially Decimator Fire Sprays, it does really, really well against. The theory is, at least in this part of the country, you're still not seeing a lot of the pilots out of the transports. So people don't know what to shoot first or what to do first. So Tarn usually hangs out till the end of the game.
Tarn and Hobby are probably my favorite X-Wing pilots.
They're my favorites.
I don't... Unfortunately, I lose a lot when I play them, but
Yeah.
just from a thematic and just I like what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like I should practice with them more, really.
Yeah.
Especially Tarn, he's really tanky.
Tarn is just as tanky as Luke, in my opinion, especially because people usually forget about him. They don't think to shoot him.
He's a pilot skill 3. Like I don't
Yeah.
for that right now.
And even in this last game, even though I should have lost that game, Tarn did absorb a lot of damage before he went out. So I had some bad rerolls with him, but when he is at his best and you're making a Phantom, reroll 5 dice and get 5
I've
lands.
seen somebody win a tournament because he couldn't be touched by a Phantom.
Yeah.
So you spent quite a few turns actionless with Wedge. You did have Predator, but
Yeah.
you were stressed out for a while and then you got blocked. So was that frustrating at all?
It was very frustrating. I wasn't too worried about it. I wasn't trying to get him his actions back because I knew I had those academies to get Predator on. So I wasn't as worried about it as I normally am. But that definitely was a problem I was thinking of.
Okay. If you saw Chad again, would you chase the ties first, or would
No.
you go to the Decimator?
No, so we talked about that. So that was my stupid mistake. I do not see Dark Curse out here, ever. So I was not paying attention to who I was chasing after. By the time I was committed with that second 4 straight, it was too late. I had to commit to that and go after it. Next time...
He dodged everything.
Yeah, he did, and that's what should not happen. Next time, in the same setup position, I probably would, instead of going that first 4 straight, dive a 3 bank, go all in on the Decimator. Right.
A lot of people were talking about that. We were halfway through the match, and it wasn't. At this point, you were probably down Hobby already. Like,
Yeah.
So he's just letting that Decimator shoot at him at range. Like there's only 2 shields on the Decimator. What's going on?
Yeah, I put myself in a very bad position to start that game, so I figured I was already committed. I was just going to roll with it.
And then he got you down to just Wedge.
I got very...
Pop that critical on Wedge, and you won all left.
I got very excited when I saw him take that 3 or that dive. What was 3 straight? Well, but the turn before, I got pretty excited with that because I think he took a 3 straight or a 2 straight up into the corner there, and I was thinking, I don't need to go anywhere with Wedge. I can just bump him and make him have to go around me and put that corner off the board. So that worked out.
That was 60 points.
That was
were far ahead, and again, just the turn before that, he dealt damage on Wedge and then popped Dark Horse with ruthlessness.
Wedge was down to his last hull.
Yeah.
He was at his last point of damage, so it could not have come any closer.
You put a lot of damage on the Decimator in that last turn.
They all got through.
Hits through, and then
crit.
he spent 2 damage to take
Yeah, so he
Darth Vader, so
ultimately he did himself in.
if you had another shot at the Decimator, it might have been over anyway.
It might have been at range 1 though. He was going to get Wedge. Wedge was going to pop that turn. If he had one more chance to shoot at him, he might have covered it.
Any final thoughts? Changes you might make to your list?
We talked about that a lot, about bumping that, finding a way to bump that bandit up to a Tala, just because everybody out here is running Predator. So we're talking about taking.
Trying to save a point.
Yeah, I think I'm taking R2D2 off and making it a straight R2 unit. Although, you know, in this game, it's unusual for what I've been running. In this game, that R2 saved me. I mean, that R2 regenerated over and
early on,
over.
you took a couple of damage when you took 1 damage from Ruthlessness and 1 damage from an attack.
Yeah.
And even though you were blocked so many times, but it
I kept
gave you
getting
time
back.
to recover your shield.
Yeah, I was surprised he wasn't a little more aggressive with the ties, too. They kind of stayed out of the game. I don't think there was a round when everybody had a shot on me. So it wasn't quite what I was expecting.
Especially if you're the attacks you do get are really weak, it's important to get as many as you can.
Yeah.
But
this list is pretty good historically, so I'm going to keep running it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope to see you on the stream again.
Yeah, I hope so.
I guess I was hoping to play a game tonight. As you can see, there are a couple of Magic players over there, but the X-Wing crap cleared out.
It's too late for another game. I got to work in the morning. So.
So you're good. It's like I don't have a real day job. So
All right.
Anyway,
Thank you.
have a good night, man.
Oh wait, actually we have a viewer question before you take off.
What's that?
First question: Why? How do you feel about staying in summation for so long against?
Against that Decimator. I kind of knew he was going to deal that damage out. I felt okay about doing that. With that list, it's kind of what you have to do. You've got to be able to turn as many of those guns against the same target as possible. So that's you have to. It's kind of a calculated risk at that point.
If you take damage to deal more damage.
Yeah. You have to.
And is there? Oh, we already answered
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So again, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Okay, that is going to. This is Brandon here. I'm your primary commentator. It's going to wrap up our stream. Let's see if we have any viewers left for that interview. 13. That's not bad at all. I'd like to remind everyone who's still playing here or still watching here. We have another turn. We have a tournament in our store competitive series. It's going to be quarterly. The next one will probably be over the summer. We have a tournament on Saturday. That will be fully live streamed. I won't be here. We'll have some other commentators taking care of it for me. Coverage will start at about 11 a.m. and will last most of the day. I will see you Wednesday night in 2 weeks, and I hope you had a good time. Thank you very much, HoloNet. Fly casual.